Oh, let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate the movies. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me today, my friend, very funny, Craig Conant.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
How much, man? How are you?
I'm good.
Oh, boy.
Just had to watch this shit movie again. Thank you for that.
This movie that you've chosen to come talk with me about today, Pacific Rim Uprising.
The number 2 one, not the first one. I enjoyed the first one.
First one's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Good old, I love a good robot fight, you know?
It is. It's fun. Robots and monsters, giant robots.
Are you someone who grew up watching a lot of anime and stuff and like that kind of like robot fighting and superpowered and kaiju and monsters, all that kind of stuff?
I mean, just the whatever was on TV, but yeah, I watched Transformers and Mighty Max and all that shit. But I wasn't really into Japanese anime, not just because I didn't know about it.
Gotcha.
But the second I saw some of like Ghost in Shell and Princess Mononoke or whatever, the one with the reindeer, that shit was awesome. I was like, wow, cartoons can be loaded with fucking action and gore. You're like, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get real deep in there, man.
They really do.
They get some brutal cartoons. But this one, Pacific Rim Uprising,
It's horrible.
it's pretty rough. It's not. Here's what I'll say about it. I'm not, and I'll say I went in there with very low expectations based on your strong opinion about it.
Yeah.
And it kind of, I think that was probably a better way for me to go in. What did you think about it? When did you see it for the first time?
It was on HBO Go, and I got my mama's password. Thank you, Tilly. And I love action, and I'm super easily entertained. And this shit, it just was just too much. It was a soap opera. It was too much bad acting, and it's just like the plot was unbelievable. Like they have this little girl fixing giant robots. I'm like, how the fuck? Sure, maybe she has the brain power. How is one little girl going to lift a 20-ton sheet of metal and weld it on to a robot? I'm like, I know this is. I just want to believe it a little bit, and it's just like,
right. Yeah, there's a lot of unbelievable stuff going on in this, and and there's a baseline of like in a movie like this, there's got to be some suspension of disbelief already, but you have to be able to, as the audience member, accept the world and not be like, well, this doesn't make this.
Yeah.
Look, I understand there's giant robots fighting, but let this part make some sense.
Have some basic normal life make sense, please.
So for those of you who haven't seen this movie, Pacific Rim Uprising is a 2018 American science fiction film directed by first-time feature film director Stephen S. DeKnight.
Yeah, go kill yourself. Just kidding. That's fucked up.
Man, this guy, he was a TV writer, it looks like. He also is the head writer and executive producer of the Starz series Spartacus, including Spartacus Blood and Sand, Spartacus Gods of the Arena, Spartacus Vengeance, and Spartacus War of the Damned. Did you ever see any of those shows?
No, but see, that the guy's a writer. My point, stay in your lane, bro. You're probably a brilliant writer. Just keep writing.
And also a writer of like old, like gladiator style shit, like Romans fighting. I know there's a lot of sex on those shows, and that feels kind of like a soap opera, which maybe is like why this kind of felt a little too soapy.
The first director was that guy Diego del Toro, right?
Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, fuck. I'm Mexican. I should know this shit.
You should know that.
God,
you got to support your brethren, Craig.
I'm really bad at it. I just watched this like 2 weeks ago, and my memory's so bad. I was like, I better rewatch it so I could actually be knowledgeable about talking about this goddamn movie.
So those of you, the plot basically, it's set in the year 2035. Plot follows humanity as they're fighting the kaiju giant monsters set on destroying the world. It's 10 years after the original, and it's an okay movie. It could have been better. Pacific Rim blows this thing out of the water.
Well, the first one was so good, and Guillermo del Toro, shit, he was fucking awesome, and he knows what the fuck he's doing, and it was amazing, and that's why I was like, oh, I can't wait for this one, and then it just looked like a high budget made-for-TV movie.
Yes,
That's what it felt like.
That's exactly how it felt.
And it was like, you're already putting so much money into it. Just, I don't know, add a little more and get some real actors in there. Not real actors, sorry, better actors.
But that's the thing is like the only major actor they have in here is John Boyega. I mean, they have Charlie Day in here.
Charlie Day and John Boyega were the only redeeming qualities in this movie. They saved it. But Charlie Day didn't even make me laugh, and I love Charlie Day. Like, it's like, if you're gonna have Charlie Day in your fucking movie, have him be goddamn Charlie Day.
Especially because Charlie Day was so great in Pacific Rim.
Oh my god, he was amazing.
I mean, that's the problem with this movie. Is it just you have Pacific Rim to compare it to?
Yeah,
that's its real downfall here. Is that there's another movie that is this is the sequel to, and sequels are supposed to like build on the world of the original, or at least on the story or something. Just be better than just this.
Yeah.
This is just like somebody. I didn't even take the time yet to look into like how this came about and how it wound up not being Guillermo del Toro directing it. Because I think if Del Toro directed it, it would have been totally different.
It would have been amazing. They would have built a fucking 5-part Transformers empire. Instead, it's this flop of piece of shit. But back to Charlie Day. Okay,
let's talk about Charlie Day,
dude. I've just for the record, I love Charlie Day. Huge fan of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and he cracks me up. And yeah, so with that being said, don't have Charlie Day be your villain. He's a funny, sweet, he could still kind of pull it off because he's good.
Right.
But it's like, this you were better in the first one when you're this wacky, lovable character that saves the world.
I think, yeah.
He's having sex with chunks of flesh.
Yeah, he's having sex with alien brains.
What the fuck?
This is some weird fetish.
And it's like sex / it looks like he's taking a hit of heroin too. It's like it looks like a drug / orgasm brain aneurysm thing going on.
By the way, this is all in a PG-13 movie.
Yeah.
This is not. If this movie was an R-rated movie, can you imagine how much more graphic Charlie Day having sex with the kaiju brain would be?
And he names the kaiju brain Alice.
I think. Yeah.
And it just like Alice was moving around and talking to him. It's like, this is weird,
it's
man.
Real creepy and unsettling.
So weird.
See, here's the thing. If Charlie Day is a great person to play a weirdo character, we obviously know he's amazing on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Did you ever see Horrible Bosses?
Yes.
He's great in Horrible Bosses.
Amazing.
He's so funny in those.
Yeah.
And I can see Charlie Day playing a villain and pulling it off well, but he's got to be somebody who's not just... It feels like they're wasting Charlie Day in this movie.
I feel like he needs to be the main evil guy's henchman, and then it's funny. But when he's the main evil guy, you're just like, I don't know.
That's the thing. I could see, because I think comedy actors in particular can do a nice villain turn and pull it off very well. I think even in one of my favorite movies of all time is Blue Velvet. And Blue Velvet, Dennis Hopper, who I think is just a really solid actor, but he plays the villain and he is a lunatic and he's really funny. There's a lot of really funny parts. He's like screaming about Pabst Blue Ribbon.
I've only seen that once. I'll have to rewatch it, but yeah.
It's crazy, but he's just going bonkers. And I think that Charlie Day could play in that mode. Like I could see Charlie Day playing a serial killer very well.
Yeah.
If Charlie Day was around instead of Christian Bale in American Psycho, I could see that working too.
Yeah.
Even though Charlie Day is definitely not as like Christian Bale handsome as Christian Bale is.
Yeah, but he could bounce off the spectrum pretty well.
Yeah, he'd be on all kinds of bad shit. But Charlie Day in this movie, they have made him be just kind of a like he's not really in power for the first half of the movie. Part of this problem is the movie you don't really know. There's not really a real villain for a long time in the movie.
Yeah.
The movie probably goes by, and this is almost a 2-hour movie, and thank God it's not over 2 hours.
Yeah.
It comes in just underneath.
Should have been an hour and a half.
An hour and a half is where it would have thrived. But there's nobody really that you're rooting against on a big grand scale.
You're rooting against the Asian lady that's the leader of the company that's about to take over, but then she ends up being a hero.
Right.
And then, it's just... I don't know. I can't. I don't know but nothing just made sense. And you're just like, what? explain it. What you said. Build on the first one. What's happening? You changed everything. I don't get I don't know. Nothing was clear, and it just had a lot of cheesy like moment. And I grew up on Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, dude. I love
that's your
cheesy
jam.
lines. But and theirs was just it's just like, I don't know. You weren't expecting them, or just the whole shit was corny, bro.
It's very corny. You're right. It feels it's just like there's some moments in this movie that I didn't understand why the choice was made.
Yeah.
If you're coming from a background of being a writer of essentially B-movie Game of Thrones, which is what Spartacus has always seemed like it is to me. And I say this as somebody who has watched maybe 3 Game of Thrones episodes his entire life.
Yeah.
Then lean into that. Lean into being a good B-movie. And this movie's not even, it's totally okay, but it could have been at least a lot of fun to watch.
I think that's what I'm most frustrated at is I am a fan and I really wanted to enjoy this, and it couldn't have been that hard to knock this out of the park. You know, it's monsters and robots, and you fuck that up.
You fuck that up.
How do you fuck that up?
How do you fuck that up?
We're not doing Schindler's List here, dude. Like, this is giant, just, and they fucked it up. And it's just like, you made something that is unbelievable that I believe in, more unbelievable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Did you catch it? I don't even know what I was trying to say, but it's like, I already believe in this bullshit and you just made me unbelieve.
That's it's like, did you see Pacific Rim in theaters, the original?
No.
So you just saw it and you're just like, oh, I'm on board with this.
Oh yeah.
I'm such a big fan.
Yeah.
How did it feel? How far apart did you watch the original Pacific Rim and Pacific Rim Uprising? Was it far enough apart that you were just, as soon as you saw it was out, you're like, oh yeah, I got to get into this. I got to be on it.
I think it was the same. It popped up on HBO Go, and I was like, yes. But I watched the first one maybe 3 times. I fucking loved it. It's fantastic.
First one's great.
And I, because of I don't know about you, but comedy for me, I watch it and I'm surrounded by it so much. So when I go home, I want anything but comedy. Mm-hmm. It's hard for me to watch it now, which sucks. But I just choose action. I just love dumb action.
Action is a very, very fun genre because there's a lot of it's pure escapism.
Yeah.
There's no way that anybody in real life is going to find themselves involved in an action movie scenario. That's why it's so nice to have that escape.
And I just put it on and I don't have to I go cook and then eat and then pay attention, not pay attention, and it doesn't matter. And I just love it. It's my little escape.
Let me ask you this. Is there a world in which you could see yourself, like, if you could see yourself enjoying this movie, what are some of the things that it needs to change?
Well, Charlie Day's sex with the robot brain. I mean, the
For one.
Koju
Like,
flesh.
Point number
brain.
1.
No, sex / drug addiction to a alien monster brain.
Right.
That's got to go. Jesus. And I mean, I'm not a great actor, but you got to beef up the acting in 90% of this film. It is. That's how I act. I'm not an actor. I was like, I could deliver lines like that. You
could be the young girl.
I could have.
You could be a scrappy kaiju builder or a scrappy Jaeger builder.
And me as a scrappy builder is more believable than this cute girl that's just like, just a little American girl. It's like, what is she, 14?
Where are her parents?
Yeah.
I guess they died in the kaiju attack, but still.
It's just like, have her look a little more rough if this girl is building 800-foot robots, or I don't even know, 80 feet. Just
they're big.
giant.
They're giant. Big. You know what was one of the things that really bothered me about this movie? Everybody is dirty all the time in this movie.
It's the future.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Why is everybody dirty in the future?
Yeah. When they have more technology and the robots are murdering alien monsters.
Yeah, it's like I remember when they got off, John Boyega and the girl, the scrappy pilot girl, show up at the academy for the first time, and it's like, okay, you're supposed to be putting your best foot forward here, right? You're supposed to be trying to prove yourself.
Yeah.
You know, John Boyega has been kicked out of the academy and he's trying to work his way back in. And this girl's just like, she's the young rogue pilot. We're going to train her up and make her we're going to make her a Star Ranger. And they both show up looking like they have no idea what soap is.
Yeah.
They still look like this. You're not, at least like, even the cops who arrest them aren't throwing them and hosing them down somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like in the military, they'd be like, shower up, get dressed, and meet over here.
Right.
They're not going to just have some dirty kids join the fucking ranks here. Yeah, this movie made no goddamn sense. And then when you're talking about Charlie Bodega and
Charlie Bodega.
what's his name?
Charlie Day. Wait, John Boyega. Charlie Bodega.
It's early, man.
Now that's a movie I would like to see. Charlie Day, bodega owner, fighting off robots as they come and try and steal all of his ice cream and cigarettes.
Oh, I genuinely didn't mean to do that. That's embarrassing. They felt like Idris Elba is brilliant and everyone loves him. He's awesome. And then they were just like, let's get the younger version of him.
Right.
And they did with John Boyega.
Yes.
Okay. And John Boyega is fucking brilliant. But then Charlie Hunnam, they're like, let's get the younger version of him and this other white boy. He didn't cut it.
Scott Eastwood.
I'm sorry.
I'm assuming probably Clint Eastwood's dad or son. If it was Clint Eastwood's dad in this
I was
movie,
like, wow,
wait a minute.
Benjamin Button Eastwood.
Hold on.
Is it his son?
Yes, his son, I believe.
Oh,
I'm gonna
well.
try and double check it.
Yeah, let your dad do the acting, dude.
Scott Eastwood. I mean, the Eastwoods are trying to be this whole family enterprise now. Let's see. Allison Eastwood, Morgan Eastwood. Yeah. His dad is Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, that makes sense. He does look like Clint Eastwood now.
He does look a lot
All right,
like
well,
Clint
now I'm a
Eastwood.
fan because I love Clint Eastwood so much. Maybe not his racist outlook, but goddamn, he made some good spaghetti westerns, you know?
Yeah. You know what? That's it's like, okay, I got another question for you. As somebody who tries to avoid watching comedy outside of career-wise stuff, where like we're out at clubs all the time or doing shows, how did it feel watching this movie and seeing the way comedy was kind of shoehorned in there?
That also bugged me too because I felt like in the first one it kind of was done well. Like you laughed at some moments, maybe it was a little cheesy, but in this one there was zero to none. There was no comedy. I don't think I laughed at all. And it's like, I love Charlie Day. I laugh at him all the time. It's hard for me to laugh too, but he's so good. And you fuck that up. Like, how are you gonna?
There's like little tiny attempts of doing comedy in this movie, and they don't. Most of them don't work. There's only one time that I actually laughed, where it's John Boyega and Clint Eastwood's little baby boy, and they're in the kitchen, and John Boyega keeps spraying whipped cream.
Yeah, that
while
bugged
the other
me
guy
too.
tries
It's
to
like,
talk.
stop with the whipped cream, dude.
It's like this is a classic comedy move where you're like, I'm going to keep interrupting the guy who's talking, but also, do we need that?
Yeah.
Like, I laughed a little bit. I was like, oh, I see what you did there. Nice one. But what is that adding? It's adding another minute to this movie that's already too long as it is.
The only laughter in the movie that was at a serious talk moment where he's trying to get through to the guy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, I don't know.
So what are some of the other things that bugged you about this movie? Because you got a nice little list here on your notepad, and I feel like we haven't even covered all of them yet.
It's just everything felt forced. Like you just said, shoehorned in. Every comedic line, every tag, nothing felt organic to me. No relationship seemed real. Seemed like a shitty script, and I don't even write scripts. And it just was bad and I feel like just being mean. This is bad acting, followed with the weirdest, most unbelievable plot line. And once again, I know it is monsters battling giant robots, but I need some sort of ounce of based in reality to like. It's weird that I need that, but I just do, you know?
Right.
It's like, all right, I don't know.
I mean, this is a movie where, it's robots fighting giant monsters. We're allowed to have some stuff that doesn't make sense, but for stuff to not feel organic and for stuff to feel like it's jumping around and people aren't making semi-realistic choices within the world. It really bugs me.
Yeah.
That was the thing. I think it makes having Guillermo del Toro leave this project is probably one of the worst things that could have happened to it.
Yeah. He was the only one that, maybe not the only one, but he was the man to do the job. And he was not on this project. And it clearly showed. It was a fucking dumpster fire.
Because say what you will about Guillermo del Toro as a filmmaker, I know a lot of people really like his work. I also know a lot of people had a lot of problems with Shape of Water, which won Best Picture, and he wrote and directed that. And he's got a way of telling stories that you can work in a fantastical realm and environment and at least make it feel
Real and believable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this fucking Stephen S. DeKnight guy
Jesus.
just can't do it.
I just can't. I know I keep talking about the same stuff, but the sex scene with him and the brain just ruined my universe. I was just like, what the shit is this? This Koju drifting connection, kaiju, whatever the fuck.
I just don't think it's like, come on. This is it. Let's some of the critical responses to this movie I think are being a little bit too kind. Like, it still didn't get good reviews. It got very mixed reviews at the box office. It got a 43% on Rotten Tomatoes.
43. It should be. That is too high. Isn't Rotten
That's what I'm saying. It's too high.
That's too high.
It's absolutely too high. The critical consensus reads, this is according to the Wikipedia page, Pacific Rim Uprising won't win any points for subtlety or originality, but it delivers enough of the rock'em sock'em robots versus kaiju thrills that fans of the original will be looking for.
That was the only silver lining in this, is the fights were fun. That was the only time I was like, yes, finally.
See, I didn't even think the fights were that fun in this.
Well, because it was the actors inside the bodies, but the action of them slicing up robots, that was fun. But yeah, even the believable part of the kids in them, I want Idris Elba in there. I want Charlie Hunnam in there. These kids were just 13, 14, and not their actors' chops aren't up yet.
I think that the idea of having the teenagers have to be the robot pilots and them being reckless and crazy because they're teens and they don't know any better, I think that's an interesting plot point. I think that's something that if you had better actors playing those kids, this movie would have been on another level.
Yeah.
But you got a bunch of nobodies who also have skipped all their acting classes because they're taking Instagram selfies and hanging out at
Why
the
didn't they
Grove
get
or
the
whatever.
kid from White Boy Rick? That kid was awesome.
Why didn't they get the girl from 8th grade?
What's that one?
You haven't seen 8th grade?
8th
grade is a great movie. It came out last year. And it's basically a movie about a girl who is an 8th grade girl, directed by Bo Burnham, and it's her last couple days in 8th grade. It's great.
Yeah, get the 8th grade girl. Get the girl, the smart mathematician girl with the handsome buff dad. That's Captain America. Her brother. What movie is that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let me look
The
it up.
smart math girl.
The smart math girl. She's a brilliant little actress.
Smart math girl. That's my favorite of the girl with the dragon tattoo books. There's so much about this movie that just like it falls flat. Like, I remember watching the trailers for this movie and I was like, okay, this looks kind of cool. I mean, you get to see 4 robots fighting at once, but then I watched it and I was like, oh, this trailer ruins a lot of the movie. Because it shows the climactic robot fight in the trailer.
What is with trailers with spoilers in them? What remember Terminator Salvation?
I remember that movie coming out. I've never seen any of the Terminator movies.
What?
Yeah,
Get on the ball.
Very sheltered.
Terminator 1 and 2 are the best action ever. Even Terminator 1 with the shitty graphics now, because but it's still good. James Cameron, man. Wait, what the hell were we talking about?
Terminator Salvation.
Oh, the
trailer
to that revealed that I almost said John Connor. What's Sean? Who's the main guy?
In Terminator?
Yeah,
John Connor. You had it.
Yeah, okay, John Connor.
Yeah.
They reveal that he is the bad guy and the robot in the trailer, in the 10-second commercial on TV and internet. And that was the whole plot twist of the entire movie. And it was revealed on the commercial. And I was like, why would you do that? You know what I mean? That's like...
That would be, I mean, it's insane because there's a part of marketing and doing trailers where you're supposed to show off exciting and good parts of the movie. Because every trailer is supposed to make the movie look good. Trailers across the board are fun to watch because they get you excited about a movie. And then the movie might wind up being a hot, flaming pile of garbage.
Shit, yeah.
And then, but then it's like, okay, well, cool. You did a good job in the trailers, but that also means you shouldn't spoil stuff.
That was I kid you not, that was the most pivotal part of the movie, was watching them trust their friend and seeing him turn into a robot. And it was revealed in the trailer.
So stupid.
And I was baffled. I was like, why would they do that? That was the whole movie was built on that pinnacle of a moment. Pinnacle.
Pinnacle. It's built on a card game that old women play in casinos. Craig,
I can't fucking.
You got the best. You got some great mispronunciations. I love mispronouncing a word or two, but you're my new favorite.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Here's the biggest problem that I think that this movie suffers from. It just doesn't feel... It feels like I have no desire to care about anything that happens in this movie.
Yeah.
I just don't. I think there's a lot of things that could have been done to fix that, but chief among them, don't let this guy direct the movie. Don't let this guy make all of the creative choices that he made in this movie.
Yeah, it's just awful.
Is there anything that you think could have been done differently to make the movie better?
I mean, we've already get Diego. I mean, Guillermo back. Get Guillermo back and call it a day, because this shit was a fucking dumpster fire. But I forgot. Okay, so the girl I was talking about is McKenna Grace, and she's in the movie Gifted with Chris Evans, and none of that I can remember. But it's a really good movie, and it's sad, and it has all the feels, and you'll cry, and she is awesome in it. And it's this little girl. Get her as the star.
McKenna Grace. She began acting professionally at the age of 6.
Yeah, that just reminds me of Dakota Fanning, you know?
She's in I, Tonya. Oh, she's young Tanya and I, Tonya.
Yeah, find the Dakota Fannings of the world and put them in this movie. They exist.
Even Dakota Fanning would have been good in this movie.
Yeah, put her in the goddamn movie.
What's Dakota Fanning up to right now? Nothing. Put her in this.
Yeah, put her in this.
She could still play a teen.
Yeah.
She could totally still do it.
I know that.
Get fucking Chloe Moretz.
I don't know who that is.
She's the... You don't know. You've seen her in stuff before, I guarantee it. She's another one of those like Dakota Fanning types. Young girl, blonde. She's been doing stuff since she was really young.
Oh, she's in Kick-Ass?
Yeah, she's in Kick-Ass. She's
oh, yeah. I love her. She's awesome.
Yeah.
Find her. Find people like her.
It could have been
not that hard. There's millions of us trying to make it. You literally could have cast me in this movie. I would have done the same job. I suck at acting.
You would have been better.
I would have been better. You might
I
have
would have
laughed.
actually cared about watching you.
Yeah.
I feel like you could have been you could have been in this movie and elevated it to a level that it's just not at. It's such a shame. This movie's such a shame. It's totally, because the problem is it's totally middle of the road, fine, average. And it could have been at least fun to watch.
Yep.
I just didn't enjoy watching this. I was checked out of this movie while I was watching it. I can tell how I feel about a movie if one of two things happen. If I fall asleep, or if I am okay with leaving the room and not pausing the movie.
Yeah. And because there are even bad movies to where I still pause it because I still want to see what happens. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't happen with this. You leave and you're like,
I didn't miss anything.
I didn't miss a damn thing. A whipped cream fight over ice cream. How many toppings does the military have? This isn't believable.
Yeah, why does the military have all this ice cream?
Yeah. What the fuck? And it's the military. You don't have all access pass to Cold Stone Creamery in your goddamn base.
Also, how are you going to put whipped cream on the ice cream and then put the sprinkles on top? You're doing it all out of order. And you don't have chocolate sauce? Come on, Truman Boyega.
Where's the goddamn banana and walnuts, huh?
This is bullshit. I don't buy that I don't think you even know how to eat ice cream.
Yeah.
This is totally unbelievable. Well, is there a movie that you would recommend people watch instead of Pacific Rim Uprising?
Yeah, Pacific Rim, the first one.
Boom. Just watch that over and over.
One of my favorite movies of all time is True Grit, the reboot with the Coen brothers.
Yeah,
I
good
love
choice.
that movie.
Haley
Oh,
Steinfeld, she would have been a good actress to put in
Yes.
this movie.
Get that one arm bandit in here. She's the girl that lost her arm, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you got it right.
Oh man.
And I haven't seen that one in a while, but I love Jeff Bridges. And I love
he's
that movie.
so good.
Coens are
I
solid.
love the simplicity of his character, like the guy that walks up and just goes, "You are not Lviv." You know, like no, there's not an ounce of an extra word in that movie. It's just perfect.
It's great.
I love it.
Well, Craig, I am sorry that you had to watch this movie again.
I am too. Thanks, Jay Light.
Thanks for bringing it to my attention. I'm going to forget about this movie as soon
Yeah.
as I can. And I hope you guys do too. Where can the listeners find you?
Craig Pete Conant on all social media, and Craig Conant is my name.
Wonderful. And you've got a podcast. It's about community service.
Community service. It's just about drinking and drugging and hopefully finding the light and road to sobriety. And also, if you're still on that dark, depressive path, keep going. You'll get to the bottom one day.
Keep it going.
I'm just kidding.
You'll get there.
It's just about trying to find the good in a bad situation. It doesn't always go that direction. And then we get a nice shitting of the pants story mixed in there somewhere.
Every sober person I know has a good shitting pants story somewhere.
Everybody does. And if they don't, they're fucking lying. Because nobody's perfect. Somebody's slipped.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Indian food out there.
You know what? One more thing that would have made this movie better? If you got one of the robot people shitting their pants.
Yeah.
Because it's scary in there. You got to be shit. There's got to be some shit in the pants somewhere.
He's the big fart,
Come on.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
I always love that moment in Judge Dredd. The first one was Sly Stallone and Rob Schneider when I think Rob Schneider pisses on him on the motorcycle. Remember that?
They had Rob Schneider. I just called him by his Christian name, Robert. They had Rob Schneider in a Judge Dredd movie with Sylvester Stallone.
I love that movie.
I've never even heard of this
Apparently
movie. I didn't
it's
know it existed.
Pile of shit too, but I saw it as a kid and it was fantastic.
Well, maybe I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have you back on later. Well, you can find me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram. jlightcomedy.com for show dates. I got a lot of stuff in LA coming up, so check my calendar if you want to come see some stuff. Fun times. And I would appreciate it if you listened and you liked it to tell some people about the show. Spread the wealth. Make more people in the Blockhead Nation. That's what we're calling the listener base.
5-star.
Rate it, subscribe, and do the same thing to Craig's podcast too.
Thank you.
You can find us both in wherever you find the podcast. I mean, you're listening to it right now, so you already understand how this works.
Yeah.
But just tell some other people. Why don't you?
Tweet it out.
I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you being here, Craig. Thanks for coming by, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
This has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.